Namaste. I hope everyone are healthy and doing good. I am Muskan Prasai, Head of Project Management at Hult Prize, Purbanchal University, Kathmandu. I extend my warm greetings and welcome our guest speakers for today's webinar at Hult Prize, Purbanchal University in collaboration with our global education partner, World Humanitarian Drive. Today's webinar on Knowledge Saves Lives, which is made to be a blend of Hult Prize 2020 theme, Food for Good, and about breast cancer, as October is officiated and dedicated as the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As our guest speaker, we have Mrs. Susan from the UK, Dr. Janissa from Albania. I also welcome Ms. Janaki Gurung in representing WSD in Nepal and Mr. Washim Ansari, Campus Director for Hult Prize for Purbanchal University. Just briefing about Hult Prize, it is a community of young people leading a generation to change the world. Hult Prize aims to transfer young people and be the change agent. With short yet sophisticated intro of Hult, I would now like to welcome our beautiful Miss Achal Adhikari, Head of Marketing and Promotion, who would be the moderator for today's session ahead. Over to you, Achal. Thank you.
Thank you, Muskan. Hello, everyone. I am Achal Adhikari, and I will be the moderator for today's event. So, formally starting, let me first introduce you all to our very first speaker. She is Mrs. Susan Crosswell. She has been working as a counselor for 40 years in Australia, USA, Russia, UK, and the European continent. She is a 65-year-old, bold and strong woman. Half a decade ago, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and now she is cancer-free. Mrs. Susan, the virtual stage is all yours. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anchal. That's so kind. Let me share my, well, before I share my screen, I just want to say thank you so much to the World Humanitarian Drive and Dr. Abdul Basit Said, who invited me to speak today. Let me share my PowerPoint with you all. Here we go. All right. So life has given me this opportunity to learn a few things, and I simply want to share them with you. This has been my experience of the last 5 years. And so I'm going to talk about living, thinking, and eating and handling stress well in order to prevent and overcome cancer. Right, so through my experience, especially over the last 5 years, when I was diagnosed with estrogen positive breast cancer, just a month after I turned 60, there are 4 main things that I found that I needed to deal with this. I needed certain inner resources, which I'll talk about in a minute. I needed super nutrition. I needed detoxification. And I'm going to tell you about a wonderful product that has made all the difference for me too in the last 3 years. So first things first. The first thing I had to do was to find the confidence to take better care of myself. Now, I thought that I'd been taking good care of myself in my life. I did many things, overcame many things already. But then with this diagnosis, I realized, oh, I have more to learn. I have a lot more to learn, and I need to take care of myself. And that was a real inner challenge. For some of you, that might sound really easy, but for me, it wasn't. And perhaps because I'm a wife and mother, who knows exactly why. But this was a really big challenge for me to really feel good about taking care of myself to the extent that I would do nothing else for a while. And then one night when I was struggling with this, waking up in the middle of the night often, I went to my computer, as I sometimes do, to get help. And I found the words of this wonderful lady, Corrie ten Boom. She said, happiness isn't something that depends on our surroundings. It's something we make inside ourselves. So my first steps were to go inside and seek for this courage and this confidence that it's right, it's good, to take care of myself, and I can let go the guilt. I was overcome often by the guilt of only focusing on myself. And then I also had to find my peaceful purpose. So it meant deepening my sense of God's love for me. That means feeling loved even if I'm doing nothing. Can any of you relate to this? I realized that part of my psychology was somewhat stuck in this need to do something in order to feel loved. I needed to let go of that. And I realized this was part of my life trap. So some psychologists believe that people who get cancer have a tendency to be in a life trap. And part of them feels this is the only way out, unconsciously, of course. So when I read that, I felt, oh, this is something I need to explore. Let me find out, what is it, my life trap? And I think a big part of it was not appreciating myself enough, and therefore letting other people take me for granted. So becoming aware of that was good. And then it was easier for me to stand up for what I needed and to take care of that. It also meant having the courage to say no to requests when I needed to. And it also meant really living from the heart. And it was a wake-up call for me that I needed to go deeper, find out more deeply what it is I really want from my heart, and to trust my own sense of what I needed to do and what I need to do with the purpose in my life, which is beyond being ill, of course. Oh, and have courage, I said at the bottom there. Then I also needed to face the fear. So I would say the first whole year after the diagnosis, I was really overcome by the fear of illness, the fear of death, the fear of pain, and it was really, really ever present with me. So I need to face it and find a way to let go of that. So how did I do that? I was able to do that mainly because I could gain the knowledge of the causes of cancer, and also knowledge about how other people have faced it and overcome it. These two things helped me tremendously. And there are two books that gave me the most help in that area. There's a book called Outsmart Your Cancer, which I recommend highly, and another book called Radical Remission, which was given to me by a dear friend who's here on the webinar today. Thank you, Lisa, for always. Thank you. So these books came to my attention just when I needed them, and they were full of helpful, stimulating, challenging, helpful information. And with the help of these books too, I could fill up my mind with self-love, love for others, and the positivity about my situation, which took time. It took, as I say, a year to go over that. And so suddenly, really, one day I realized, oh, I've been really terrified and I'm not anymore. Another thing which is really important in my experience was to find a regular exercise routine. And I started walking in the mornings. For many months, I walked at sunrise and I looked into the sun and I thanked Mother Earth and God for all the good things in my life. So I think it's really good to do about 40 minutes of exercise, maybe do two segments of it. I do Qigong in the garden as well and walk in my bare feet. But starting the day with that was really wonderful, and getting up that early so there's no one else around It was just me and myself and God in the early morning. And I talked with God about my situation, what my questions were, what I needed. And this is how I started the day. And then I found that more and more I did find answers. And I also came to trust my own intuition more. Because when you get a cancer diagnosis, probably those of you who may have been through it, you get so much advice from many, many people who love you, well-meaning people. You are deluged with information. So it's really important as you sift through it and decide what to investigate, that I found that I could trust my own intuition more and more. I also believe, and I found tremendous help from friends and family. Now, this is a tricky one, actually. Maybe sounds easy, but sometimes people who are your close friends don't understand and are even really, really frightened, and they can't help you. And this is really a bit shocking at first. But don't worry about those people. They're struggling with whatever has happened, been stirred up in them. Bless them. Don't worry, they'll be so proud of you when you succeed. That's what I realized. That was the most important thing, that I myself find my own way to succeed. So we need to find a way to have enjoyable fellowship with like-minded people. And you can make new friends through this journey, because you're going to meet other people who are faced with this challenge. And it's really important that we remember it's my journey, it's your journey. And as I said, trust your own intuition. Sometimes even family members cannot understand. And it didn't happen to me so much, I'm grateful, but I've heard of many whose family put enormous pressure on them to do something they didn't really think was right. So just be aware of that and know that that happens sometimes, and you don't have to cave to pressure if you don't think it's right. Next thing is super nutrition. Super nutrition I needed. Now, I started off my journey, as well as following advice and having a lumpectomy. I started off my healing journey with a plant-based diet. Lots and lots of green leafy vegetables and organic produce. And I also drank lots of raw juices, and I cut out refined sugar. I cut out all processed food. I cut out salt as well. Dramatically changed my diet. It wasn't so difficult for me because I had done it earlier in my life at various times. This one can be really, really tough, but I highly recommend it. And this is what I did at the beginning. And I learned about how to do that from the Gerson therapy people. And if you have a full-time helper, this might be the way for you. You can learn about healing the Gerson way from this book by Charlotte Gerson. This was another wonderful help for me. The other thing that I've taken on board in the last 3 years is what's called intermittent fasting. So that integrative oncologist that I visited twice recommended this. So I learned that if you don't eat for 14 to 16 hours each day, or most days, then this reduces the likelihood of the cancer stem cells spreading and taking hold in other parts of your body. And also it's better not to eat after 6 p.m. So I try to do that. I've even my husband cooperates with me and eats before 6 o'clock often, which isn't that amazing, ladies? Yeah. So you see, if you decide to do something, it will happen.
Yeah.
Now the next thing is detoxification. So this is a big issue, a wonderful one, and so important for healing from any degenerated disease, especially cancer. So how do you detoxify? Well, sleep is a really big part of it. So my Gerson nutritionist said, I'm not going to take care of you unless you go to bed at 9:30 at night. Oh, okay. That's a serious command. she gave me with a smile. So try to go to bed at 9:30 so you can sleep from 10. That's what I did. That's the guidance that I received. So what's the theory behind that? Well, some scientists believe that from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the time when your body produces healing hormones. That sounds easy to go to bed early, does it? Not so for me. I had to teach myself how to go to sleep that early. So how did I do that? You might wonder. Well, I lay down. Well, I had a bath. I relaxed. I lay down, turned off all the computers, etc. long before, and I told my body, "I love you. Go to sleep." And I just said that, and I was kind to myself, and I did that. And there were times when I had some pain, quite a lot of pain, not too much. And a wonderful acupuncturist that I saw at the time gave me a good tip, and this might help you, whether you have cancer or not. This is a good tip, I think. So, and it works amazingly. So she said, just visualize that there's a hook in wherever the pain is, and take it out and let it go. And this is a very simple but effective visualization. It might help you. Also, detoxification needs lots of flushing with good, clean water. Drink a lot. I drank a lot. And the other thing I learned from Gerson therapy was to use coffee enemas. So in the book that I mentioned by Charlotte Gerson, there's a whole chapter on coffee enemas. You can learn about it on YouTube. There are many, many videos. And at the end of my presentation, I've got my email address. So if anybody wants to ask me, how on earth did you do that? What's it like? What's your best guidance? Please feel free to contact me. So the thing about coffee enemas is that there are certain chemicals in the coffee that go to your liver through the enema process, and they open up the ducts in your liver so that the toxins can come out. So you see, when you dramatically change your diet, you drink a lot more, you sleep more, you do other things, which I'll talk about in a minute, toxins will come out of your whole body that are contributing to your illness, and the liver has to process that, you see. So the liver has to work very hard. And when I was first doing this, I had a slight pain in my liver, and after a couple of months, that reduced and went away completely. What about emotional detoxification? That's really, really important too. So I needed to let go of blame, blaming this or that, or this person or that person for my situation. I needed to let go of anger, and I needed to let go of any desire for revenge for whatever happened in my life, even all the way back to my childhood. And as I say, I thought I'd done all that actually before, but I realized I needed to go to another level. And as Nelson Mandela said dramatically, resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. So no, it won't. It's the poison we give ourselves. So what does it mean, let it go? That could be a whole other webinar, couldn't it? But let it go basically means to stop having give and take with it. Those negative thoughts, those blaming thoughts, the angry feelings, the desire for revenge, let it go. Don't have give and take with it, and instead find gratitude and my peaceful purpose, as I said. Now, finally, I want to talk about this wonderful product called Protocell that came to my attention. And on my walks in the morning, I asked God for guidance, as I said, and I believe this was one of the answers I received. And, I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just sharing what I have done. And there are many, many non-toxic therapies that you can find. In the end, my way turned out to be integrative oncology. I used traditional Western medicine as well as alternative methods. Had 2 surgeries in the end and radiotherapy, but I declined chemotherapy. And the reason I could do that was I understood that this product would be better for me. And I decided I'm going to be responsible for my own health, and I must follow the sense in myself of what I need to do. So this product you can look into in this book that I already mentioned, Outsmart Your Cancer by Tanya Harter Pierce. You can buy it on Kindle. You can have it within a few minutes and start reading it. This book is what I decided to do as an alternative to chemotherapy, the product Protocell. It's a non-toxic antioxidant formula, and therefore it can be taken continuously. So chemotherapy, you have to take in short spurts and then you have a break. The reason being it's so toxic to all the cells in your body. But Protocell is not toxic if you take it 4 or 5 times a day until way beyond there are any signs of cancer in your body. So I finished my Protocell treatment 1 month ago, in fact, 2 years after I had no visible signs of cancer in my body. It causes the cancer cells to fall apart. So if you get this book, you'll find in it 21 non-toxic therapies to cure cancer and lots of stories that will amaze you and encourage you. They did me. And there are also 4 chapters about the history of Protocell, how it was developed, how to use it, and lots of stories about it. And there's a blog that has several years of her experience of using Protocell that you can find if you do a search, Beating Cancer Without Breaking a Sweat, which will give you an amazing story of someone with stage 4 breast cancer who healed using this product. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel absolutely free to contact me and ask WHD for that address if you miss it, and I'll be more than happy to engage with you and share. Thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Thank you, Mrs. Crossworth, for your insightful and inspiration words. Moving on, our second speaker for today is a very brave and inspiring woman, Dr. Jenisa Junigraci. She is a medical professor in University of Gizoip-Castor, Albania, and also serves as the Secretary of Regional Peace Council, Gizoip-Castor. The virtual stage is all yours, ma'am.
Thank you for your introduction, dear Untitled. Greetings to our beautiful host and moderator and speakers for today, to my dear WHD Global team, to Hult Prize, and to our international audience. First of all, I would like to say thank you to WHD Nepal and Hult Prize for organizing this webinar and for having me today. And next, I would also like to virtually send my support to breast cancer patients, survivors, and their families worldwide. May God bless you all. Breast Cancer Awareness Month started in 1985 in USA from the need to raise awareness of this disease and raise funds for research. Due to this awareness month, nowadays doctors notice higher numbers of clinical breast examinations, as well as raise of interest in doing ultrasonography and mammography annually during October. So this is a great impact we are witnessing thanks to this awareness month. And this motivates us to keep on spreading information, hope, and support to patients and medical staff. I believe this is what we are doing today in this webinar. Information is never too much because knowledge saves lives. According to World Health Organization, breast cancer is still the most common cancer in women, both in developed countries and in developing countries. And what is even more to be worried about, numbers are increasing, particularly in developing countries, where the majority of the new cases are diagnosed in late stages. So apart from all the great job that is done until now, we still have a lot to do. Since I am the only doctor in this panel, I will have to highlight some important facts and figures, and I would appreciate your patience concerning my medical terminology. Incidence rates of breast cancer vary a lot worldwide, from nearly 19 cases per 100,000 women in Eastern Africa to nearly 90 per 100,000 women in Western Europe. But let's say that in most developing countries, incidence rates are below 40 per 100,000 women. The first important topic I want to highlight today is prevention. So we wouldn't be here today talking about breast cancer if it wouldn't be possible to prevent it, right? Between 30 to 50% of all cancer cases are preventable. So this is why we would need to work even more in prevention. Prevention not only saves lives, which is our primary interest, right, but also offers the most cost-effective long-term strategy to control cancer. So please follow the recommendations, do breast self-exam, clinical breast exam, ultrasonography and mammography based on your age. The second important topic is risk factors. Honestly, I believe our audience already knows risk factors, but I would prefer highlighting them again as briefly as possible for the younger girls and ladies following us today. The first one is tobacco. Tobacco use is the greatest avoidable risk factor for cancer, which kills approximately 6 million people each year from cancer and other diseases. Tobacco smoke has more than 50 chemicals we know cause cancer. So think twice before smoking, right? The next one, very important, extremely important, is food. To control cancer, diet modification is a must. Actually, the presentation from Mrs. Susan earlier, it was perfect, so I will not add anything to it. I would just, let's say, give a recommendation. If I have to give an example, a suitable diet would be the Mediterranean diet, right? But be careful to get proper information from professional people about it, because frequently people believe a Mediterranean diet consists in lots of pasta, for example, which is probably what we would all prefer, but this is not true. So it's very helpful also, the PowerPoint presentation of Mrs. Susan earlier. It was great. A healthy diet surely will reduce your risk for all types of cancer. The next risk factor is alcohol. Well, let me highlight that regular, moderate consumption of alcohol, which means 3 to 5 beverages, alcoholic beverages per week, is considered a risk factor. So please count the glasses. The next one is environmental pollution. Well, this is a vast topic to speak about, but I would just say very shortly to you that at least we are aware that unfortunately we have polluted air, water and soil with carcinogenic chemicals, and we are facing now consequences. So let's start making changes about environmental pollution. There are other risk factors which we cannot change, we cannot modulate, right? Which is age and gender. So being a female and increasing in age is a risk factor itself. 95% of new cases occur in women aged 40 years or older. So please be careful, because no matter your young age, as I said earlier, numbers are increasing in younger women. We have cases starting from 20, 24 years old, so please be careful. There are lots of other risk factors like family history, reproductive factors, use of exogenous hormones, for example, oral contraceptives or postmenopausal hormone replacing therapy. And before starting using them, you should discuss with your clinician about the potential benefit and harm from using them. So be careful and think twice before using. There is a good news, because I don't have much time to focus more on risk factors. So just some important messages for you. Due to success in prevention and improved treatment methods, we are witnessing today decrease in breast cancer mortality worldwide. So we have been doing a good job, so let's keep on doing it. There are some good news about treating methods, which I want to speak about very shortly. Surgical methods used for breast cancer treatment nowadays are becoming less and less aggressive and minimally invasive. So today, thanks to new technological developments, the vast majority of breast cancers can be treated with, for example, cryoablation, which is great because it is done through a needle hole. It takes only nearly 1 hour to do it, and the patient can go back home immediately after it. There is no incision, there is no stitching, no deformation, no deterioration of breast aesthetics, which for a female is really amazing. It doesn't mutilate our feminine image and also doesn't mutilate our spiritual health, right? So this is the point we should emphasize again, that working in prevention, in early diagnosis, may offer you this kind of new ways to treat it, which are cause less damage and less side effects. There is another very important news to share, which Mrs. Susan also mentioned earlier, which is improvement in quality of life. Nowadays, we have so much to offer to our patients through integrative oncology and also rehabilitation. And there are also some extraordinary news about cancer treatment, which actually are like ongoing scientific work, and scientists are working on some very smart methods in killing cancer. So I will just mention three of them. One of them is a kind of antibody drug combination. It works like a smart bomb. It delivers chemotherapy directly to cancer cells by attaching them to their receptors. Another method is a form of immunotherapy. It is named CAR T-cell therapy, which is being hailed as the most promising treatment in development today. And another method I would like to mention is gene editing, which is showing promise as the possible cure for breast cancer. Practically, it would be, let's say, possible by introducing some new gene to cancer cells that will cause them to die off or stop growing. So thanks to scientists, we have so much hope in finding the cure for breast cancer. But meanwhile, we face lack of access to new treatments due to poverty and inequality. So while we are waiting for the cure, what we should do, we should speed up access to more effective treatments with fewer side effects globally. We can disseminate more rapidly information from research centers to the community of oncologists. We also can put a standard of care for breast cancer patients through nations and also involve patients and their families on their care. And this is very important, and it has a wonderful feedback. The times we are living in are challenging times in all life aspects, right? But together with challenges, there are also possibilities and solutions. So I would like to say to everyone, hold strong and keep having faith in science, because better days are coming. And ending my speech, I would finally give a message to you all. Let's say a way of thinking about diseases. Fighting over a disease, there are three warriors. So the first warrior is the disease itself. The second one is the patient, and the third one is the doctor. So to win over the disease, the patient and the doctor should work together. I believe offering information, what we are doing today and every year during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is that we empower mainly the patient, and this helps win the war with breast cancer. So nowadays, breast cancer can be just a chapter of your life, not the final chapter. So I wish all the best to our patients and our survivors and their families and everyone out there listening to us today. Thank you for hearing my speech.
Thank you, Dr. Junisa, for your motivating and impactful words. Now, moving on, I have a few questions to ask both of the speakers. Firstly, I would like to start with Mrs. Susan Crossworth. The way you portrayed your presentation was wonderful, and it was really, really inspiring. So this year's theme for Hult Prize is Food for Good. As you've mentioned about how important balanced diet was for you, I would like to ask this question. So you being a cancer survivor yourself, how important was good balanced food while you were fighting cancer? We would love to hear your opinion on this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Asha. A food-based cure was the beginning of my work to heal. And I used a plant-based diet plus supplements and liver capsules, that's the Gerson therapy, for the first 19 months, including 10 8-ounce raw vegetable and fruit juices every day. So this had the effect of reducing inflammation in my body dramatically. Athlete's foot, bacteria odor, vaginal discharge, all disappeared, and colds and flu didn't bother me. My skin became clear. I lost excess weight, 13 kilos, and I was able to find greater peace in my mind and heart. The flavor of foods and my sense of smell was enhanced enormously, and arthritis in my left knee, which had often disabled me for the earlier 10 years, reduced 95%, even more. So since moving to the modified Gerson protocol, I continue to use mostly organic food, and I cook for myself 90% of the time, and I do not crave processed foods or sugar at all. I've also used food for cleansing, for example, garlic to cleanse from intestinal parasites. And it might sound a bit gruesome, but I even expelled something called a ropeworm, which is thought to be the creation of my body to deal with managing processed foods. So all kinds of horrible things might be lurking inside us that are toxifying us. Also, I like to eat watermelon a few days every year in the hot weather, which is a wonderful and delicious way of detoxifying. I believe that locally grown food and produce is by far the best way to restore vitality to our bodies. So, for example, I know that a friend of ours in Uganda, where my husband has a charity, was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and we gave him advice about diet because he doesn't have access to medical help because of poverty. He changed his diet and he's fine. That was 4 years ago. He's recovered. You see, so food is really amazing medicine for us. I eat with good appetite, and I create new recipes for my family too, and they enjoy it. So, and also, if you decide to use Protocell, you need to eat a phytonutrient-rich food as well for it to have optimal results.
Sure, ma'am. Eating balanced food, good food is definitely the key to leading a very healthy life. So, Dr. Janisa, you being a doctor yourself, do you agree with what Susan had to say about balanced good food?
Yeah, as I said earlier, actually, this is a real living example how a balanced and healthy diet can do miracles, right? And this is the living patient and doctor, as I said earlier, work together to win over cancer. So we have real results. So follow them.
So, Dr. Janisa, as I already told that this year's theme for Hult Prize is food for good. So how can the theme of this year's Hult Prize bring economic sustainability by using food as a medium?
Thank you for your question. Actually, these days, when I was introduced with Hult Prize theme of next year, which is food for good, I did Google and start thinking of it. And actually, there is a lot to say about, but I will try to say my opinion shortly. So I was thinking, we all know the saying that what we eat, we become, as we already discussed also with Mrs. Susan. So nowadays, we have more than enough scientific evidence that food industry, genetically modified organisms, harmful chemicals we are using in agriculture have dramatically damaged our health. So this is the right moment to change the way we produce, the way we also trade food, and the way we consume food. So if we focus and think on each of the above elements, so production, trade, and eating habits, we will be surprised how much we can improve. So I will mention just some of them. In my opinion, I believe maybe I'm wrong, but I think so. The majority of people of my generation worldwide are used to buy products in the markets. And maybe we don't know or we don't want to grow our own food, even when we have all the resources. And if we would maybe just try to calculate the amount of money we spend on buying everything in the markets, we would be surprised that we spend a huge part of our incomes for food, especially in poor countries like the country I live in. But this is not just about money. It's about spending so much, let's say, like working just to eat and eat bad food, not healthy. So I really appreciate there is a raising sensitivity on the topic, and younger generations are being grown up, able maybe to plant and take care of plants. They have started working on kids. So this is not only good for finances, as I said, but for our health, and especially mental health also. And it makes us independent on the system. And Hult Prize is doing a great job with this team. There is a growing movement globally in supporting farmers and organic farms instead of buying everything by famous corporations. And more than that, I think this is the right moment for food industry also to react and adapt to new objectives. So they would also need to start thinking about improving our food's quality as well as quantity according to rising numbers of global population, because it doesn't mean that we are growing in numbers and we will eat even worse food. No, this needs to change immediately. So I see maybe smart farms as a brightful future that will make possible organic food and increasing number of workplaces. So thanks to technology, we can do a lot more in food industry and everything else, but also in our own. So by using technology, everyone can improve the way we cook or the way we consume food and make our meals like a family fun, like qualitative time, right? So all that I mentioned, I try to briefly mention, I believe can create jobs, can stimulate economy, can, let's say, reimagine how we use supply chains of food, can bring good health, can make maybe possible zero hunger reality and reduce inequality. I hope very much for it. So I see amazing possibilities in this area, and I would like to congratulate Hult Prize for choosing this team. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Janisa. So while we were talking about economic sustainability, changing the world, changing the community, changing ourselves, so Mrs. Susan, I would like to ask that, do you think the participating team of Hult Prize can positively impact this world by generating food-related business ideas? And what kind of business ideas do you think is beneficial for eradicating poverty and hunger? We would love to hear your opinion on this, ma'am.
Well, thank you for the question. Thank you. You know, the topic of business is definitely not my expertise. However, I'm sure that I'm very happy to hear what Dr. Janisa has said about those emerging programs. It's wonderful to hear that. I totally support that, and I'm very happy to hear about that. I'm sure that local organic produce should be promoted and championed. For example, trading and marketing convenience food is not the solution to health and poverty problems. And I'll give an anecdotal evidence about this. I have a friend from Nigeria, lives in the UK, and she was telling me that her aunts and uncles are dying 15 years younger than her grandparents. And I asked them, why is that? Back home, yes? And she said, oh, she thinks it's because younger people are eating so many convenience foods that are imported from overseas instead of growing the food like her grandparents did. So this was rather shocking to me, even though I sort of know that that's a reality. But isn't that shocking? 10 to 15 years less life and pain too, suffering. My husband said, tell them honey production is a good idea. Honey production, this would be an excellent business to develop. Especially because honey can be stored for long periods and exported. You know, it's also complementary to the organic agriculture. And I learned from a friend who has a honey producing field that allergies are best treated by honey that's made in the locality where you live, which is very interesting indeed. I think that people need to cooperate together to find funding, and I'm hoping that organizations such as the Hult Prize Foundation would be wise to promote and award companies to provide microloans, for example, socially responsible attitude in the structure of companies. And I think the idea that of WHD, which includes trade harmony, this is a wonderful idea, and I'm really encouraged for the future.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. An effort from an individual can later become a very impactful and an amazing movement later on. So, Dr. Janisa, how would you motivate the youths, mothers, and all those who are discouraged or left out from the society due to various reasons to rise up, to follow their passion, and to serve the community in every way possible? Can you share this from your own experience?
Yeah, what I believe is that every person in this planet knows very well what disappointment and discouragement is. But no matter the cause, this is not a reason to give up. Instead, let's see this as an opportunity to mature, to identify the problem and find the needed solutions. So I repeat myself once again, this might sound theoretical, but look what Mrs. Houston did with her own self, right? She did apply this on her own. This is possible, this can be done. So I would like to say to youth especially, because maybe they are not afraid of diseases because of being very young, but they are also very frequently discouraged. So I want to say to them, don't rush to grow old, and don't rush taking decisions that affect your life. I think it's better to rather take care of your body and soul, listen to the voice inside of you, teach yourself self-awareness in order to understand what is good for you, what is healthy, what makes you happy, and trust in yourself, because everything we need is inside us. And to all the mothers out there, first of all, I want to salute you for the extraordinary efforts you do every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So becoming a mother changes us for a lifetime. And this doesn't mean that our days are always happy, right? Or maybe easygoing, not at all. But at the end of each day, we are our kids' heroes. So we have to take care of ourselves, or our health, our mental health, spiritual health, and everything else, because we cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So we cannot be what we want to be if we don't take care of ourselves. And what we all seek is happiness. In my personal experience, as you asked, I learned that we find happiness when we focus on the inside and not on the outside. When we are young, we are continuously seeking everything that is outside us. This is better, this is better, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want this thing, I want this other stuff and everything else. But this is a lie, according to my experience. So when we have objectives to achieve, we are happier. When we follow our passions, we are happier. When we give more than we get back, we are again happier. And especially when we lift each other up. So I did find happiness in serving community, in helping my students, in helping whoever would need what I can give. So it's not important where we are, but I believe it's important people we are with and what we are doing to make our dreams reality, and what we are doing to make the world a better place to live. So I would say to you all, be the person you need when you are broken, and be the change you want to see in the world.
Your words are really very inspiring, Dr. Janisa. So, as we're talking about mental health and various issues, I would like to ask Mrs. Susan, as the cases of mental health problems has been increasing day by day, and also the suicide rates has also been skyrocketing. You being a counselor, how can we as an individual create an awareness to talk and aware the people about such issues?
Yes, we hear more and more about this issue of becoming aware about mental health problems. So what can we do as individuals to take away the stigma of mental health struggles? I think friendship and the heart's connection therein is absolutely essential for good mental health. And we can start by being a true, open-hearted friend to others, accepting one another's emotional ups and downs with compassion, humility, and good-natured humor. Good old-fashioned friendship is golden. of course, I think there's a physical element to the whole issue of mental health. I think clean water and air and organic food reduce toxic stress, which also causes emotional and mental stress. I believe also that the overdependence on pharmaceutical chemicals is at the root of a lot of mental illness, I'm afraid to say. And I think we are rushing headlong in the wrong direction if we think that fixing chemical imbalances with artificial products is the key. You know, we need friendly and creative connection with other people fundamentally. And I think living from the heart in a community of families is essential for mental health. But, you know, it's not always easy to stay well connected with one another through difficulties in life, is it? It's not always easy. So I think we need to adopt a non-judgmental approach to mental health issues. You never know when you're going to be suffering from that yourself. And so non-judgmental towards myself and others is so important. I would say too, I think that the overemphasis in education, on intellectual pursuit and high grades may be contributing to this problem. We need balanced education. We need intellectual education balanced with friendship, social education, to prevent too much stress on young people. You know, my daughter said to me one day, "Mum, you have no idea how much pressure we're under." You know, and I think it's true. We don't, as parents, we don't realize. You know, there's a way to balance, and it's very, very important. You know, I trained as a massage practitioner many years ago, and one of our teachers said to us that he believed healthy touch in the family will be the source of the solution to many illnesses. So I think this is really important. And somebody said we need 10 hugs a day for happiness, something like that. So touch one another, you know, just even the gentle, friendly touch can mean a lot to someone who's not feeling their best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Susan. I was personally very inspired, and I owe myself that I would create an awareness, or at least try to do something regarding all this mental health and the problems that has been going on around the world. So, Dr. Janisa, you being a secretary for World Humanitarian Drive Albania and also a recipient of the Universal Peace Federation Albania as an ambassador, what changes you would like to see in the world by 2030, and how do you think it is possible for us to achieve that?
Thank you. It's very important to me, your question, because let's say the reason I am involved in humanitarian projects and the reason I am part of World Humanitarian Drive is because they are showing an extraordinary goodwill and commitment in building peace and harmony among all humans across the world, as you said, regardless of race, religion, or nationality. So if you see our global team, you would notice that our mission is embodied in us. And this makes me very proud and thankful to be part of it. About what I would like to see in the world in 2030, right? I would like the world in 2030 for sure will be a multicultural world, but I want it to be focused on human values, on environmental preserve, on education, on art and science and sustainable development, and most of all humanitarian projects. Because in my opinion, the world that we all dream, which is peaceful and prosperous, will be possible only if we all clear our minds and souls and show our pure nature, which is humanity. So according to my opinion, humanity is the most precious treasure we have, and our generation's mission is to preserve and promote it. So this is what I believe WHD is doing. It's leading several global movements, and one of them is World Moral Day, which is very important to me. And I believe is the right path to follow to have these good results in the global future. So join us and witness how humanity is the next and best leadership.
Definitely, ma'am. hope is all we can do, and we hope that by 2030 we can create a world where we do not have many problems. We can eradicate the problems and live a very peaceful and happy world to live in. It was an amazing experience talking to both of our speakers, Mrs. Susan and Dr. Janisa. Now I would like to hand over the virtual stage to our host, Muskan. Over to you, Muskan.
Oh, okay, I was muted. Thank you, Achal. Thank you so much for moderating the session so well and with beautiful and amazing structured question. I'm sure like we everyone and our participant out there definitely have and gain knowledge on uh, the topic that we discussed and that our guest speaker presented on. When you know better, you do better. Thank you, Mrs. Susan, to make us learn and start on being mindful. And I also thank Dr. Janisa for sharing knowledge and awareing all of us and our participant that breast cancer is preventable. The what you ate is what you are. So watch on your food. With this, I would now take my pleasure to welcome Ms. Janaki Guru, representative from WSD, to deliver a vote of thanks. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Achal. Namaste and hello, everyone. I'm Janki Guru, General Secretary of World Humanitarian Drive, Nepal. So first of all, I would like to thank our very, very beautiful, wonderful speaker and highlight of the day, Mr. Sushan Crosswick, for your wonderful, inspiring word. I love the journey of your recovery, and I would like to deliver to all the patients and the families. You can be the victim of a cancer or survivor of a cancer. It's depend on your mindset. So thank you really much, Ms. Crosswick. It was really, really inspiring, heart-touching. I think it was really honored to be here in our webinar. And I would like to give my special gratitude to Dr. Janisa Chunigrasi from Albania, my very, very good friend, for your wonderful today about the session, and our host Muskan and their moderator Achal, the team from Hult Prize. And also I would like to express my gratitude to our Hult Prize Purbanchal coordinator, so Wasim Ansari on the back side, and our technical team, Ms. Wilson. And I also like to thank a special thank to our honorable founder of WHD, Honorable Abdul Basi Said, for giving this wonderful opportunity. And I'm so glad to be the part of WHD to serve for humanity. And today it was a really wonderful session for breast cancer awareness about knowledge save life. And really the breast cancer month is observed every country as October, is to create awareness about the breast cancer and to detect about this cure. And as Dr. Janisa already mentioned that breast cancers usually is a common cancer in the women, and usually the age to 40 to 50, but we can see currently in the youngsters too. So proper healthy diet is must essential for that. And also from Mrs. Crosswick, we have to learn a lot of, so it was a wonderful sessions. So according to the WHD, about 3.38 million new cases and 458,000 deaths from breast cancer each year. So this is the data that I checked out from WSD. And the only cure is, I think, the sufficient knowledge and early detection would be the cure for the disease. And talking about in context of Nepal, this cancer is very common for Nepalese women. And according to the data of 2018, we have 15 cases per 100,000 women. So I think factor responsible for general delay in developing countries like Nepal is due to lack of knowledge, I think limited breast cancer screening program, limited healthcare facility, and also due to social culture barrier. So this is a right platform. I think that we have the topic Knowledge Safe Life, where we can create awareness not only in Nepal, but around the world. So together we can. And also, I would like to say that, as Janisa said, that we need to have prevention is better than care. Proper healthy diet, taking good care of yourself is most essential. So I'm so proud to be the, to organize this event. And I would like to say that, like, I think I can fight like a girl. And this is also WHD has planned, like in Women's Day 2020, She Speaks series. So this is our first She Speaks series from Nepal WHD chapter. So thank you, our founder and operation director, for bringing up this wonderful She Speaks series. And today we all have a strong lady, beautiful women over here. And I think a beautiful woman is a happy human who have good courage, hope, positive attitude, and who is good from the heart and take care of yourself. So thank you so much once again to all our viewers from Nepal, from globally, to be the part of this wonderful webinar. Namaste, spread morality, spread humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Janaki ma'am. Indeed, very thankful how positive you are and how positive you spread the message on the importance on the knowledge. Indeed, knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is. I once again thank all our guest speakers for putting the insights on floor and answering all of our concerns and motivating all of us in a way. I also thank our participant who joined us through Facebook Live and keeping present with us. This is Muskan Prasai, host of today's webinar, signing off. And I request everyone to stay tuned for our upcoming events. And again, thank you WSD for collaborating with Hult Prize Purbanchal University, Kathmandu. So see you all. Bye. Take care. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, everyone.